Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 334. I'll be your host, Kyle Gordon. I'm here with my co-hosts, Nate Reyes and Ryan Ripken. And an apparent lack of Ollie. Ryan, I got a little bone to pick with you. It's been how many episodes now? And Ollie has yet to make an appearance on the pod. So does that...
And yeah, I mean, he's probably doubled in size.
He's a full-grown dog at this point. Like we missed out, but...
Well, you know what? Like we talked about always with me coming on, there's something problematic that happens with me. And Ollie is a saint. I don't want to damage his record. He's a good boy. Does he listen all the time? No. You know, and he's a busy guy. He's actually currently out on a nice run with my girlfriend.
See,
so I'll wait next. You know what?
It's always something.
Yeah. I'll have my people get in contact with your people, and we'll work on it. I'll take responsibility. Accountability. It's on me.
Why can't you just send her a text right now and be like, "Hey, when you guys get back, just open the door and let Ollie just pop in here."
Okay, if that happens, I'll give the signal. I don't know if we're giving signs. I'll give a sign, and Ollie might just poof in, and it might knock my mic off at the same time. But we'll risk it. Yeah. What was one of your favorite signs? I always like the. I like the chest way.
I never liked the face ones. I didn't like the face ones. Two hands going at once. You're trying to pick up ears and nose.
I love how every baseball coach had the wipe as the belt, and it's like,
yeah,
every baseball coach in America knew what was happening at that point in time. But I see what you're trying to do here, getting us off track about Ollie. Look, this isn't a professional production. If you need to get up in the middle of this to just go grab him, just so he can make an appearance, that's more than acceptable. So don't feel like you have to run some elaborate signage.
It's true.
Okay.
If either of you have to poop, you can both get up, whatever you need to do.
He appreciates that, and so do I. You know, I just think all the time, it's just... and maybe you guys have reminded me, I do need a new computer, and the mic system, whatever happens, for people that listen... I come on here every single time, and they say, "No, Ryan, you're not the problem." I am the problem. Every time we come on, something happens. So I feel like bringing Ollie would bring joy, but also might ruin the entire production. Just by...
I would argue that Ollie would greatly enhance the production, but that's just me. Anyway, I digress. We got a voicemail right off the top, and then we will get into some Luis Arraez, Pablo Lopez, Jazz Chisholm talk. We got some things on deck, but before we do that, let's see if this voicemail will play. Chances are it probably won't happen because Ryan's on here, and that just never seems to work. But let's see if it works. Otherwise, I'll have to take the old school route.
Hey guys, greetings from sunny Central Florida. Just need to do a bit of a rant. I got two things. Number one, been looking at being down here. We're in the heart of the grapefruit league, but looking at spring training ticket prices have absolutely skyrocketed. I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but it is ridiculous. You'll also be glad to hear for the first time I'm going to go see a Yankees game at Steinbrenner Field. Worst seats in the stadium, absolute nosebleeds. $75 a ticket. Absolutely outrageous. Just crashed out. Absolutely outrageous. But where I really wanted to rant about, maybe alone on this subject, maybe on my own island, maybe I'm missing something. I'm not sure, but I wish we'd have a talk about it. Why are we so interested in the statistic of WAR? I know it's got like a formula behind it, but in the end, it's all based on conjecture. It's all guesses. Why are we so interested in this, at the base, made-up statistic? How are you supposed to know how much better you are than the other person? You have no idea. You have no idea. And then for somebody that's taken over for somebody that was terrible, they automatically get a higher WAR. Versus if you took over for somebody that was, decent, your WAR is less through no fault of your own. Can somebody explain to me why everybody is so interested in WAR? It doesn't make sense. I put no stock into it. Absolutely no stock. It does not make sense. can we please just go back to batting average? Because despite what you guys say, batting averages matter.
What a sign off. First off, I like that.
That's passion.
That's nice.
That's passion right there.
That's what we're all about.
It worked. It worked, by the way. Fired up about that.
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, speaking on the WAR stuff. It's not necessarily specific to the guy you're replacing or your next level, right? It's basically comparing that player to league average. Am I right? Like if say, Mike Trout has a WAR of 6 for the season.
Replacement level
is that
player.
Compared to the league average? Yeah. It's so is that the league average of whatever player would step in, or is that like specific to the organization? It's a good question. It's definitely a stat that needs to be elaborated more, and it needs to be a little more clear for average fans, I think. I mean, the fact that we still have questions on it and we're talking about this stuff every day is a problem. And I think that's the beauty of our game, is that baseball is it's comprised of a ton of stats. We are that game. We are that sport. Whereas other sports, you may just be able to fall back on 2 or 3 stats and say that. So I think it's the accumulation of stats that can allow you to get to this. I don't think we should live and die by the WAR. Definitely understand his argument.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to look up more definitions. It's saying a replacement level player, saying it was a free agent or a minor league player. Someone, it could be average, whatever it could be. You're right. I think it's just the lack of full definition, I think, is what confuses. I think all the time we understand the concept, but we don't understand the concept. And right. I think that's the bigger part. You're going, well, he's got a great WAR. Well, usually for me, like an eye test is, well, he's a good player or he's not. I think the WAR it tries to help guys that maybe aren't as well known, and they're going, well, hey, he's actually done a lot of great things. But if you go out there and watching, like Nolan Arenado, then you're like, well, hey, he's a good player. So that's the eye test. And I think that's sometimes what we get away from, is just the simple eye test. And that's what baseball, as complex as baseball is, it still is a very simple game when it comes to, defining who's making the right plays and who isn't.
I'm kind of sorry. While you all were going on about WAR, I was fixating on the spring training
the ticket pricing,
and I'm over here looking at tickets for. I just pulled up what we got for the Sox this spring. I'm not seeing anything outrageous. Like the Yankees game it looks like it's sold out. But like
probably depends on the matchups, time of spring training as well, right? And Ryan, you can talk on that too. Like, there's a gap, right? There's a part of time, like during spring training where you're gonna get the secondary guys. You're gonna get the guys that are, still fighting for spots.
And so I looked at both ends. I looked at the start and the end, and it's anywhere from, like right now I could get them for $5 up to $43. I haven't seen anything.
Well, I think that's I think it's just the Red Sox. No, I mean that probably explains the pricing a little bit.
I mean,
right?
I appreciate your attempt at an insult, Nate, but the Red Sox have some of the highest price tickets in Major League Baseball right now. So,
boom. In spring training,
in the regular season, the games that actually matter.
Oh, we're not talking about Fenway. We're talking about
right, but you're trying to make a jab at the quality of play on the field, but how does that make sense if the Red Sox have the highest price tickets in baseball?
With your argument, basically the only thing to go see is the stadium, not the team. So I think that's what this point is proving for me.
You're not proving any
spring training
point.
does not have the Fenway attraction to be able to rake up those prices. So if you're just watching the team, that's why they're so cheap. Fenway is the reason why those prices are what they are, not your team.
But those are the games that people go to see. They go to see the players. They go to see the stadium. But yet, it doesn't matter who's on the field. They did have Xander Bogaerts. They're charging whatever they want. They don't have Xander Bogaerts. They're charging whatever they want. It doesn't make any sense. Wow. Just over here taking strays. I'm over here trying to point out to people that spring training's not so bad, apparently. But
I've heard bad things
strays
about
left
here
and right.
over here in Arizona too. I think even I know a lot of the fields out here have like the hill seats, right? Like the center field hill seats where there's no seating, it's just sitting in the grass. They're still like $40 or $50 for, I think, Cubs. I think the Rockies and Diamondbacks Salt River spot is the same situation. It's tough out here, man.
It's a convenient thing, and also there's limited tickets. You know, when you think about stadium capacities for, you know, Major League, like the actual stadiums in Major League Baseball compared to spring training facilities, they're going to be less tickets. So if a team is in more demand or people want, or it's a more populated region, and, you know, you're going to see different prices. And also, too, you're right. I think it, you know, as right in the meat of spring training is when guys are really trying to ramp up and get their at-bats. And I think that's where you're seeing a little bit more of. But yeah, you know, I'm going to stay out of the whole Red Sox Yankees debate. That was cute, guys, and I've come to just get away when it's possible. But to answer the question, yeah, I think honestly though the limited capacity, and it's a destination for people at that time. Like just looking at from a time of year standpoint, like we talk about snowbirds and people taking their families on spring breaks and all that stuff. You know, teams, it's a business, and teams try to capitalize that they think if one person's not going to pay for it, you know, someone will.
It's weird. I'm also seeing tickets on here up to like $45, $50 for the Yankees tickets, but I guess that's they're a special case. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. But sure, let's go on.
Still trying to fight
I'm not
it.
trying to fight it. I'm just pointing out the data that's readily accessible to people like us, Nate. That's all I was trying to do. All I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Speaking of tickets,
Solid voicemail though. Keep those coming.
speaking of tickets, I guess we can announce it. Can we announce it? Should we announce it? Or do we need to wait? Do we need to wait till a certain individual is
this a teaser?
Is a little more certain on whether or not they can partake?
I think there's a certain individual that's holding this up a little bit.
Not going to name any names, Nate.
Not going to name any names, but Nate and I are pretty much for sure going to the World Baseball Classic, and Ryan should be tagging along with us. That's the goal at least. But I think actually we already mentioned it on here. If for some reason that doesn't pan out, if something comes up for Ryan for work or for family or whatever, we have a backup plan. We're gonna I don't know how we're gonna do it. We still haven't really decided, but we might just offer those up to a listener or somebody that maybe is in the area at that time. Come catch them.
We may just save that third seat for where like our food goes.
That's true. We could also do that, you know? Because that's, I mean,
just have a nacho
can't
seat.
put a price tag on that.
Hot dog seat.
Well, maybe I shouldn't come anymore at all. But if you're gonna leave that, but yes,
it's a matter of whether or not you're going to be holding it for us, Ryan. You're either going to be holding it or it's going to be in the chair.
Hold my nachos, please.
I have one role going out there. It's not to enjoy a great atmosphere, but yeah, I'm really hopeful. Fingers crossed. And this is something we've talked about for a while, and for those now that's close, you know, we are, you know, under 2 months now, guys, from this experience, and I'm trying to maybe like this is where it's trying to, you know, advertise for the World Baseball Classic, but it's awesome. Like it really is. It's a cool moment. So if you guys are in the regions, like really consider going. You know,
I agree. It's something that's like you see it for FIFA, right? Like you see the World Cup. We experienced it this year. Baseball's trying to get there, man. This is still new. Like this is only what, the 5th World Baseball Classic, 4th. Like this is still a new thing. So I think I think the baseball community needs to continue to build this up because it's that same type of feel, right? You're getting that culture. You're getting people from that fan base and for that nationality traveling and bringing their culture into games. And it's not just like U.S. Major League Baseball style. You know, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be different, and Kyle and I are at least gonna be there. So if you are able to make it out, this is the Arizona one, by the way. Just clarify that a little bit. Obviously, I'm in Arizona, so we're doing the Arizona pool where U.S. is. We're not going to be in Miami for the other side of the bracket, but yeah.
Miami would be cool though. Miami would bring some passion down there. Bring some passion.
Miami would be sick.
But excited. So people will stay tuned, and everyone hopefully Hopefully it's positive news for us three, and I will not just be, or I will just be a nacho holder.
At the very
or hot
least.
dog, corn dog. I don't know well, we can talk about food at a different time.
It's 5 days. We're going to be rotating through that whole menu at Chase Field. That's for sure.
What
Sampling.
What do they got out there that's noteworthy?
To be honest with you, I don't even remember. I've only been to 2 games there.
The most recent was the CC 3000, right?
No, I did go to a game. Sat in the nosebleeds this past season. I don't even remember who they were playing. There's nothing to write home about Chase, so I'm not going to sit here and try to sell Chase. Food wise, hopefully we can dig up some good stuff, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
Oh,
I do remember getting a hot dog, and it was just a hot dog.
I'm seeing some options here. There's new items. New items.
Yeah.
coming
Read them
to
off.
Chase
What do we
Field.
got? What do I got to look
Okay,
for?
They
well-
better beef it up.
Well, so in the Arizona street taco section, you got grilled
I like
chicken and
that.
citrus salad, some Baja fish, tacos, nachos, carnito tacos. So it's a Diamondback dog. There's other dogs here. That sounds like they have multiple dogs here. Is that a thing? Maybe. So yeah, I'm very.
Our cholesterol is going to be to the moon.
For
that
so I
week.
just went on the MLB website and I'm seeing this dessert and it looks like a churro with ice cream on top of it.
Yeah.
And now I can't unsee it.
I'll be getting a dozen of those, thank you.
That'll happen.
So I hope that's a thing.
Yeah, that'll happen.
If you're
for
going to be
sure.
at the World Baseball Classic, you better get in line before me because they're going to probably be sold
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Also, come hang out with us for sure. If you're ever
Yeah,
make
that
it.
too.
sure.
That too. Cut Kyle in line and then come hang out.
Yeah. Should we look at the pool tickets? Should we just go hang out in the pool all week? We could do that for a day game. That'd be kind of sweet, actually.
Talk about price sales or ticket sales. That's
I wonder what that's going to be like.
probably slightly more expensive by a lot.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We have time.
We'll
We
see.
have time.
Are we talking tickets?
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 We talking seats?
Maybe. I thought we were talking food, but yeah.
But you can't.
A churro in the pool could be a challenge.
Is that an option to watch from the pool?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't looked for the World Baseball Classic, but yeah, people get those tickets, man. It's pretty
Well,
weird.
Ryan's looking into that. Let me tell you about SeatGeek. It's the answer to all your ticket needs. Are you looking for tickets? You have plans of friends or family to make it to an upcoming game or concert, or are you even looking months ahead to nail down a date to get tickets before they sell out? With SeatGeek, you can find tickets to games, concert shows, and even theater performances with just a few easy clicks, or making it even better for you if you're a first-time user. SeatGeek. Next time you add some tickets to your cart, use our promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle at checkout to save $20 instantly off your first purchase as a first-time user. That's all you got to do to save some of that.
Gold hard cash.
Enter promo code 30TAKE. That's our social handle at checkout. I don't even know why we're looking at this because we've already gotten the
Yeah, we've
the
already
tickets
bought
have
them. I
already
don't know
been
what we're
purchased.
talking
But we
It's
could
a principle.
We could do a
That's what I
day
was
game
gonna
there.
say.
That's what
We
I'm
could
saying.
catch a day game. We
Yeah.
could catch a day game from the pool.
Right now,
That'd be sweet.
I'm striking out with pool info right now, pun intended. I did strike out quite a bit while I played, though, while I buy myself some time. Nothing like striking out.
Because we've got Team USA, we've got Great Britain, we've got Mexico, Colombia, and Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the whole pool.
That sounds about right. Sorry, I almost looked at a game and it looks like Taiwan, and that's not where I wanted to look for a matchup.
Ryan is losing
I'm
it.
losing it. I got thrown off. I did. This is a golden sombrero right now, which I also have done. Thank
Ryan's
you.
trying out to be like our data, like Google search in show
Well,
guy.
Failing
And it's-
miserably.
it's not looking good for
It
our
feels
guy, Ryan.
better. It feels better than the time I did go 0 for 5 with 4 punchies, including a punch out in the extra inning game to win us the game while I was in high A. People don't forget. And then I proceeded to strike out the next 2 at bats the next game to go 0 for 6 with 0 for 7 with 6 punch outs. But
I'm gonna
who
print
remembers
out a screenshot of that box score,
no, please
and
don't.
I'm gonna have you sign it. I'm gonna bring it out to Phoenix. I'll have you sign it.
You know,
Rude.
yeah, a quick story with that. You get a quick reminder of just how humbling baseball is. The beginning of the season, got off to a really good start the first series, and this was before they changed it to 6-game series. It was 3 or 4 game series. We played the White Sox high A team to open up. Winston-Salem felt good, played solid. And then Fayetteville, the Astros came in, and that's where the fun just ended. And I K'd a lot in the first. I actually went 0 for 5, 4 Ks. My coach, manager, was like, hey, you're going to sit the next day, maybe reset. The player gets thrown out of the game, so I have to enter in the 6th, proceed to strike out, and then strike out again with runners in scoring position to lose the game. So now I'm 0 for 7, and I go from starting off like 6 for 12 for then 0 for my next 7, and wondering how cold the water was in the harbor, in April.
Just
So that quickly.
Just wanted to end it all, Ryan.
I went after that game.
It's tough.
After that game, I was in, and Frederick had 1 batting cage. This was not a high-tech place. Love Frederick, though. 1 batting cage, and I proceeded to hit outside for an hour and a half till I just blistered my hands. And did I get anything productive out of that? No.
I've been there.
I hit the tee more than I hit the ball. But enough about my situations. Let's talk about what's happening now today in the real baseball world.
We need to do. I'm not even joking. I was literally thinking about this before we got on today. But we need to do like a Q&A with Ryan, just like as a whole episode. Just have people send in questions because I need to hear more stories from Ryan's life.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Oh gosh.
That might just be like a bonus episode. We don't even have to like take up our
Yeah.
regular one. We can just throw it on there as a bonus. People would eat that up. They want to know more Ryan. I've had people when there was like that absence. So like while I was out of town, I had people messaging me say, "Where's Ryan?" I said, "Well, Nate and I haven't been there either, so I don't know why you're not wondering where we are." But that's fine. But yeah, we need to do a Q&A with Ryan for sure.
Be glad to talk. Glad to talk about my failures.
Well, no, we don't need to necessarily.
Okay, not the failures.
Take that route, but
okay, we can do exciting.
if you want to
ones.
take it that route, we can. Let's talk about Luis Arraez, Pablo Lopez, and the like. On Friday, this trade broke. I think the initial reaction was that. Well, I say initial reaction as though I'm speaking for the baseball world. I'm really just more so speaking for myself. And then, Nate, I think I texted you immediately when it happened saying that I was rather disappointed in the fact that 2 rumored trade candidates both kind of just swapped, and I don't really feel like anything happened in terms of improvement. I wanted to see a team package together something like a fringe team or a team that wants to even double down, say like I'm not saying the Mets, but a team like the Mets where it's like, oh, let's just get even better. Let's go out and get Arraez or Pablo Lopez. But then you see the details of the trade and you're like, what was the point?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like I would have liked to have seen a bigger contender specifically get Lopez. I didn't know Arraez was really on the market. I didn't know that the Twins were even listening to calls on him. I like the move for the Marlins in my mind. I know they have a little bit of like some questions to answer about their infield with Joey Wendell and Segura, and now you have Arraez that can play first, but Garrett Cooper's also there. So I know that there are some questions about their infield, but either way, you get a guy with a hitting title. I mean, that's that's a heck of an addition. And they had a plethora of arms, right? We've been talking about their young talent in their rotation for a minute, and for them to be able to, slide that into something that helps the roster out a little bit, it's good. I didn't quite understand why they added another infielder. And now, and we'll get into this here in a minute, they're talking about, sliding Jazz to center field. And it's like, there's just, it seems like there's a lot going on there,
Not to mention that batting title. I'm not going to let the people forget. I'm going to throw an asterisk on that batting title with the hamstring issues.
Yeah.
At the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm not going to question whether or not it was legit, but I just thought it was interesting how it just
played like 2 games in the last week and a half of the season or whatever.
But I digress. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
It just felt like Pablo's name was being thrown out there for a while. Like that was, so it's not surprising that this happened. Honestly, I like it for the Twins. I do. Like, I'll take the other side. He has good stuff. I'll just be honest. He has good stuff, but honestly, has he put everything together fully? No. I mean, last year had a solid year, 32 games started, 3.75 ERA. There's some positives, right? And so you think when you look at that, maybe with the right fit, the right group, you could continue to even evolve and be better. And as we've seen around Major League Baseball, having very productive starting pitching is going to be so valuable. So I like it for that sense. I heard on other cases, and this is, all kind of the rumor mill, but I know that there was, Orioles fans were hopeful that if they made a move that, he would come to the Orioles, but, they wanted a deal involving, possibly Cedric Mullins. And, I love Ced. I think Ced's a great player, and I wouldn't have done that from what he brings of a value sense. So it'll be interesting. But the Twins, I think they're going to need that. I think, especially with how the Central is progressing. The Guardians, I think will be right there, and with the White Sox should bounce back. Don't think it's a bad move.
Yeah, I mean, with the Twins getting Pablo Lopez, and they also are getting the number 5 in the Marlins system, as well as this outfielder. I don't know. What is the likelihood that Pablo Lopez gives us another year? And I say year, but it was more so a stretch. I can't even really lump in the entire year. It was more of an elongated stretch last season. Do we see that again in 2023? And if so, where do we place the value in terms of winners versus losers of this trade?
In my mind, I always think of what the control is left, right? Like how long can these guys stay with these respective clubs? Pablo only has this year and next year left in arbitration. He's set to be a free agent at the age of 29 in 2025. Whereas Arraez, he's got a little bit more protection. He is not going until 2026, also the year of turning 29. So, that extra year of protection for Arraez could be something. I think you also have to look at the Twins are, in my mind, doing a lot of like second and third chances with their pitching staff. You know what I mean? Like outside of Joe Ryan, I mean, you talk about the additions of Paddock, you talk about McGill, you talk about Kenta Maeda. I love the add of Jorge Lopez. Ryan can speak on that a ton. Sonny Gray. So it's a lot of guys that, like, if they can live up to their potential, talking about a really good, staff. If you have a couple of the guys, fall out and you don't get what you're expecting out of them, it makes this trade interesting to me because I still feel like they need additional offense. They still need some help in the lineup.
I would agree with that. The only thing, like looking at it more, and this is maybe from the Twins' eyes, Jose has played. Luis has played really. He's a hitter. He knows how to put the ball in play, and he's done it very productively so far in his career. But there's a cap as far as with the productivity. I mean, this past year, won the batting title. But if you're looking for that more offensive power, and there's different variations of your lineup, he's not going to go out there and get you a high number of RBIs. He's going to get on base, and you're going to drive him in. And so when I look at by adding Pablo, I think the upside is there, and that's kind of some of the other moves that you just alluded to. It's upside pitchers that if you can have this, if a few of these guys can hit, or one or two of these guys can take a step back to their former self or can take that next step up, to me, I think that value is going to help them down the long run. And quite frankly, I hope Luis goes and plays extremely well the rest of the way. But what is his ceiling? It was this year his ceiling. And I think that, if I'm putting on the GM hat, I think that's what the Twins were trying to evaluate, is that if they had no plans to try to re-sign him,
you sold at his peak.
That is my thought process.
Yeah. That's not bad. And the other thing is that, like, I wonder how much of this has to do with finally creating room for Royce Lewis on a regular basis. It's like, obviously with bringing Correa back, that creates a bit of a question mark at short. So you still have Jorge Polanco. Do you slide him over to third, and you have Royce Lewis playing second base full time? But Arraez was, I didn't look at the game log, but he did play a lot of games at first. So is Kyle Farmer your full-time first baseman for the Twins? Like, it's interesting, And again, it's just, there's a lot of question marks. It seems like the land of misfits, the land of second chances. They signed Joey Gallo too. Yep. So it's, if you get the full potential, the Twins could probably make a run at the division this year. It just seems like a lateral move.
Well, their biggest thing too is, the last thing to touch on, having guys stay healthy on the offensive side too. And the biggest one, Byron Buxton, is, people forget when he's healthy,
it revolves around him.
He is a top talented player, and not having him on the field is, they're not the same team offensively. So if he can be on the field, this could turn out to be a great move for the Twins long term, and for the short term, Marlins, they got a really, really good player.
I think lost in all of this, people that want to look at the Marlins and say, well, they're losing out on a guy that can go out there and take the ball every fifth day, every sixth day, however frequently. I think people are forgetting about Edward Cabrera.
And Sixto Sanchez.
Goodness.
Like, they have a rotation, dude.
Right.
Like, Sixto's coming off the TJ. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, so giving up a guy that's not Alcantara and then getting Luis Arraez in return, they're going to be more than okay from a pitching standpoint.
I think the Marlins won the trade as of right now. I think the Marlins got the better end of the deal, especially with prospects attached. But the Twins, it's like it's weird. It's just odd. I understand you needed rotation help, but to take away a bat like that is interesting. I think there's probably a subsequent move following. I've heard a lot of names, or a lot of teams attached to Kepler. I think a lot of people are intrigued by Max Kepler. They have an extra outfielder by signing Gallo. Nick Gordon's still in the mix. Kirilloff had a good year last year, so yeah.
A lot of offseason left. I will say before that, the Edward Cabrera fan club, I am in it. That guy.
The guy's a freak.
Oh, my goodness. If that guy can put everything together, that would be the duo there with Miami could be the next best duo in Major League Baseball. Like, I truly believe that after what I've seen. It just depends how much he takes the next step, because Cabrera brings it. And I know it looks like the people, I saw a video on Instagram talk about oh, it's a sinker when it was like a 94-mile-an-hour changeup. Like, I don't know what to tell people. When you face it, it looks like a changeup to me. Mm-hmm. But it's just coming in so hard, but then it moves like a changeup. That's the thing. Sorry, it looks like a fastball and dies like a changeup. It doesn't feel like a sinker. Sky's the limit for that. And the Marlins could have something special. There's a reason why they didn't want to trade him. He was untouchable for them. Hopefully, we're going to see why soon.
Yeah, Sixto coming back. Don't forget they traded for Luzardo.
And not to mention, I
forgot about that move.
Was I mistaken? Did I see a relatively recent? I'm gonna look it up here. Did I see a relatively recent picture of Sixto Sanchez? Has he slimmed down? Because there for a minute he had kind of let himself go. But I think that I saw.
He's still listed on MLB.com at 6'234". So maybe by the time he reports, he'll be a little bit slimmer.
I mean, because I Twitter searched Sixto Sanchez. There's a picture here from Fish on the Farm at Marlins Miners. It says Sixto Sanchez checks in on IG. It's just a picture of him just standing there. I mean, he doesn't look. I mean, he looks better than what he was. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw some of those pictures from last year. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. But he had kind of let himself go. But I mean, if he comes back
mass
healthy,
equals gas. Mass equals
right,
gas.
But I mean,
that's the
there's you can kind of fine tune it. Like it doesn't mean let yourself balloon up to like 500 pounds. I'm not saying that's what Sixto did, but like if he can come back healthy and stay on top of that, watch out.
Yeah. Do you want to feel depressed for a sec?
Maybe.
Sixto was born in 1998. So let that sit in for you.
And I have no idea what you're saying.
I don't want to think about that either. And last thing I'll say last thing I'll say as well, I mean, it's not like also I'm getting more excited about the Marlins the more we're talking about them, to be honest. And
me too.
Me too. They still have pieces there. I mean, last year, Trevor Rogers had a rough year, and the year before he had a 2.64 ERA. Looking that up because I was trying to think of who else was in that rotation of guys that they have. I mean, and just facing some of these other players and even some of their offensive players, like they do have guys that are right on the cusp. So they're not.
They traded for Stallings. Like they're putting together a very competitive. You're
hopeful because we talked about this before of the Marlins trying to compete in that NL East. It's not going to be their year next year, but you're hoping you can build it because what you see right now is three teams in the NL East that are ready to go. So time will tell. Yeah,
this is a budgetary move by them. Not move, but specifically just like the roster in general. It's balling on a budget. You know what I mean? They're doing pretty good. Mix in with young talent. Speaking of budgetary move, did you see Johnny Cueto's entrance for his presser?
Yeah, can we just take a minute to talk about that?
I was
talking
I've never seen anything
about it
like
with somebody
that.
in the messages the other day. Like teams need to recognize that there's like it's not a mystery, but there are very clear-cut ways to make your team like more enjoyable and more like watchable and more fun to follow. And the Marlins, I feel like, have a pretty good sense of what that is. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but I love the video when they had him like ranking or like rating Marlins employees like shimmies, and he was just like scrolling through the videos, and he was like 10, 8. I'm like, dude, like you gotta love Johnny Cueto. Like, what a guy.
Yeah, eat innings, provide some veteran. I feel like I say this every time, but provide some veteran presence that kind of teaches these young guys a little bit, and teaches them some things. And Cueto's been around the block for a lot of different teams.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think I this was something I look back on, and that it's at stake, but I think just realizing how to have more fun, to relax a little bit more, and yes, he's proven and had the experience. But being able to bring that type of presence for that, the game's hard enough. and to bring back some fun to the game, some excitement, will hopefully bring some more life, to a Marlins team that really is, they got a good mixture. Now can you take that next one or two steps to be back to being that relevant baseball team that Marlins fans want to see?
Speaking of,
in worst case scenario, you have a lot of pieces that you can trade mid-season.
well, I was going to ask, speaking of fun and excitement and potential pieces that you can move, does Jazz Chisholm end up wearing a Marlins uniform post trade deadline?
I say yes. Considering what they gave up to get him.
I'd say you never say never. I try not to get too much into the hypotheticals here, but let's just face it. If for the right price, if a team comes knocking and says, "Hey, your team's out of it. What's the price?" and they give you everything you want, I could see it.
I'm just confused because I saw his name attached to a lot of trade rumors ahead of this Luis Arraez move, and then immediately, obviously with that serving as a shakeup to the middle infield there in Miami, attention shifts to Jazz Chisholm, and then it almost without hesitation, you've got Kim Ng coming out and saying, the front office saying, well, we are prepared to move Jazz Chisholm to center field. And then you got Jazz Chisholm coming out and talking about how he is more than glad to move to center field. And he's not only going to do that, but he's also going to win a Gold Glove while he's out there. So based on what we were hearing regarding trade rumors with him, it seems to me like this was all, at least for the last few weeks, this seems to be part of the plan all along for Miami. Because it doesn't sound like there's, at this point now, that there's any real need or desire to move him out.
I love the fact that he came out and is like, oh, I'm going to be a Gold Glove center fielder then. That's sick. And that's what you want out of guys like that. Guys are just taking it on the chin and saying, yeah, I'll do it. He's got the swag. He's got the confidence. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. The athleticism is through the roof. He's going to be totally fine. You still look at the infield, though, and you're like, Gene Segura isn't playing shortstop. Is Joey Wendell a everyday shortstop at this point in his career? I don't think so. So why can't Jazz play short? Why can't he be in the mix there? Or do you just fully develop him as a center fielder and say, do your thing?
This first half of the season will be very telling. But to your point about for him to stay, all the reasons that you brought up, he's got that confidence. He has that young energy where that can bring excitement to the ball club, to the team. And that could be a great fit. And if he goes on and he does play center field or wherever he ends up, having that mentality that he can go and be the best he can is going to be very big for him and for the Marlins. But I will say this again, I wouldn't be surprised just because there's always a price that someone can't say no to. And if the Marlins are still struggling and they think they can flip for someone else, you can see a team that's looking for a lot of teams out there will go all in. We saw it last year. They will go all in if they think a guy's going to put them over the top for a World Series.
Speaking of going all in, the Kansas City Royals are pushing all the chips in, signing Aroldis Chapman to a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. Guys, he's a 7-time All-Star. One of the greatest closers this game's ever seen. I love this move. I think this is really what pushes him over the edge. You get a guy that can just really be your lockdown ninth-inning guy. We talk all the time. No, we talk all the time about owners not wanting to fork over the money to get the guys that are proven winners. And you've got the Royals here saying, you know what? We're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to go out and get Aroldis Chapman. And you know who just got better? Kansas City Royals.
I don't think our listeners are quite on the level of understanding your sarcasm that you expect. I think it's going to take them more time
They might have to
If they
re-listen
don't
a
know
few
it by
times.
now, I can't help them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, it's been 4 or 5 years at this point.
I don't know. Ryan, take it away, man. I don't know what to say about this.
Well, it looks to me as a team where, they were getting a player that obviously, if he can go back to form, can be very good. But how everything ended in New York, personally, I thought that'd be too much of a distraction. The only thing I'll say with a positive to it being is you go to Kansas City, the last place I thought he'd end up. And maybe it's a team giving him a chance. And if he can prove that he's dominant again, we've talked about this a ton of times. Winning, being able to be productive will squash a lot of things in the past, whether people want to believe in that or not. But so he could create value for the Royals, but I don't know. I have a very sour impression of how everything ended last year, where it just really doesn't sit well with me. And it's not to say guys don't get second chances or third. It's just the history of what's happened with Chapman the last few years has definitely changed.
Are you talking about when he didn't show up to the team workout? Is that what you're referencing?
Oh yeah. That's what I was referencing. We can talk about all the other, if there's any other, off the field issues. That's a whole other topic, which also has a lot of, that to me has started the situation, like this year-long stretch or however it's been for him. Yeah. I still just doesn't sit right with me. As a competitor, you don't like things, but no matter what you've done or what you've accomplished, and I still give the Yankees a lot of credit with that.
You know what this move? What this move reminds me of? It's when you're playing the show. You're playing the Road to the Show, and you're so many seasons deep into your guy's career that you see guys on teams where you're like
face against somebody.
You're like,
like,
oh wow.
what?
Anyway, that's how I feel about Aroldis Chapman on the Royals. I'm like,
they're like a 72 overall now.
Just a blip on the radar. Like wow. Anyway,
yeah, I think everything that Ryan touched on is on top of postseason games ending with him on the mound is what Yankee fans are going to remember him most for. And he had a solid stretch of being one of the best ever. And if he could have just stayed on that track, I think he would have been remembered a lot more favorably. But coming from a Yankees fan, that's how I'm going to remember him. Somebody that had a ton of talent, a ton of ability, and just couldn't get out of his own way. And the mental yips that you saw at times on the field, the stuff off the field, the not showing up for team workout, it's an unfortunate end. I think it is absolutely one of the most difficult positions to succeed in when you're talking specifically about the Yankees. The Mariano Rivera effect, of just this is what our expectation is for a closer, and no one's going to be able to fill those shoes, So
whether intentionally or not, like whether fans actively expect that or it's just kind of
it's just always going to be the
in
comparison,
their mind,
right?
in the back of their mind, where they go, "This is what we had, and this is what we now have."
It's always going to be there, and whether that's fair or unfair, it's beside the point. I think it's just is what it is. Just is what it is. So, I'm glad the Yankees are finally moving on and it's officially like done. I don't know why, just in the back of my head, I was like, I could still see some type of like 1 year deal, some type of like spring training invite. And I'm glad it's over.
But again, I really thought that on the contrary, from an outsider's perspective, once that was the straw that broke the camel's back, was the whole issue. And I cannot tell you how much, as a competitor, as a player, when you go into that and that's how you choose to handle it. And I try not to be so critical of guys, and I don't know the full situation, but from an optics standpoint, to me, that's just extremely selfish at the time given. But again, why does he get signed? He gets signed because the year prior he was still an all-star and people are still holding on to the hope, well, he has something to offer. And the Royals said, sure, we'll bring you in on a 1-year deal and see if we can catch lightning in a bottle with you one more time.
The talent's still there. I mean, he still has
throws
the
100.
capability of, and he's developed like splitters and sliders that are nasty. Like he has the ability. It's just, I think the time ran out in New York.
But that is, I mean, looking at the way his career's gone, that is a benefit of succeeding in Major League Baseball. It kind of buys you these opportunities down the stretch where if you hadn't built up any sort of resume, teams are going to look at that and be like, no thanks, we'll pass. But if you've shown stretches of success as he has, you're going to look at that and go, Ryan, like you said, you're going to look at that and go, he has something to offer. It's been there before. Maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle here. Maybe this is the right environment that he needs, a new change of scenery. Let's see what happens. So, I don't know.
7-time All-Star. Played for 13 years. Still throws 100. If you still have that, some teams are going to take a chance on
If he stays in that closer role, this is going to be a struggle. Because if you look at the Royals, how many opportunities are you going to have for saves? And that guy is only good when he has consistent saves lined up. When he has 4, 5, 6 days in between appearances, that's where you see issues show up. And he's all over the map. And it's a struggle for him to come in if there's anybody on base. The guy's high maintenance for sure.
Well, hey, with all that, this could be the best thing for him. Learn to pitch in different situations. And maybe that's an audition then for other teams to go, well, you know what? He's handling other situations and we're willing to take a risk. Because that's really what this feels like to me is the Royals are trying to flip an investment that they can help their ball club next year. It's a low risk investment for them, and if he can figure it out, some other team is gonna come calling come the trade deadline. The hope at least.
Rewind a few years ago, and I remember being so excited that the Yankees were able to flip him for Gleyber Torres and in turn sign him back the very next offseason. And I was like, the Yankees have pulled it off. It's like they pulled off the ultimate move. Then you look at this now at this point, and it's like, he's going to be better remembered as a Cub, even though he almost lost that World Series for him. He's going to be better remembered as a Cub than he is as a Yankee. And Gleyber Torres is yet to really live up to the hype. He had one solid year. So it's like, was this move that grand? You know what I mean? Was it that special? Doesn't feel that way right now.
I would make the argument he was going to be better remembered as a Yankee, just not for the right reasons.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Right.
Think about this. That you brought up the moments. I mean, he's involved in two of the most monumental home runs in postseason history. Even though the Cleveland lost, that home run in Game 7 off him and the home run from Altuve in the ALCS. I mean, what moments?
I think it's unfortunate to like defend him a little bit. I think it is unfortunate that he's not going to be remembered for the run that the Cubs went on with him. He was spectacular up until that game, up until the postseason in general.
Sure.
He was really, really good. He won't be remembered for that.
They worked him to death that stretch.
Yeah,
they really did.
It's true. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's overall, I think if the Yankees, you look back and you're like, would they do that again?
Yes.
I don't know. I'd probably say yes.
1,000%.
Probably say yes.
He had a 1 ERA when he went to Chicago down that stretch.
It still just comes down to if Gleyber can be what everyone thought he's supposed to be. And that's still out for verdict. So we'll see.
What are our thoughts on Adam Duvall signing a 1-year, $7 million deal with the Red Sox?
What are our thoughts, Kyle?
I mean, I have thoughts, but I'm curious what your all's thoughts are.
You and I texted back and forth about it when it happened. I said congrats on signing in yet another corner outfielder.
To which I responded.
To which you responded saying he's going to be a center fielder. And I don't see where the evidence is that he's going to be an everyday center fielder. I don't see how. And we looked up the numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but I think it's like he has like 80 or 90 career games.
I'm just saying, it's being reported that he's going to be playing center field, especially knowing what we know about Story.
I get it. I definitely understand it. It's just
TK.
I don't understand why him. Like, if you're going to get somebody that goes and plays center field for you, why a 35-year-old, guy that hasn't had his whole career in center field?
You know what scenario would have the Red Sox not having to play Adam Duvall in center field? If they would have just signed Xander Bogaerts.
True.
Just a thought.
In an alternate universe, everything that you wanted as a Red Sox fan happened, but we're not in an alternate universe, and Adam Duvall is a Boston Red Sox. Look, I honestly think the Red Sox, to me, is it a drastic change? We don't know how significantly impactful he can be, but he's not far removed from. And last year was an injury, he only played 86 games, but in 2021, he had 38 bombs. So coming to Fenway, players like to play at Fenway. This could help their offense, and I think that's trying to help lighten the blow. And I'm still a believer. And again, this is. You guys, I think everyone is aware how you feel about the Red Sox and Yankees. This is a move that could end up being a good bargain for the Red Sox, depending on how this works out. And I do think the Red Sox are bound to bounce back. It does not help with some of their other injury news, but Duvall can definitely help offensively.
I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him. I think he's definitely a strong piece to the lineup. We've seen it in multiple times. I'm not seeing the view. I don't understand what Red Sox front office is trying to do.
Well, they got torched at their winter weekend, and rightfully so. Like, fans just let it eat over the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it's again, I think we looked up the age. I think he turns 35 at some point during the season, 34, 35. He played 30 games in center field in 2021 and played 44 games in center field in 2022, and that's it. There's no other time in center field. So an aging middle 30 with injury history doesn't scream center fielder.
It's versatility, though. So, at least that he's able to, and I think that's part of the situation that the Red Sox are going to have to navigate is how are we going to do this, and how are we going to put out a lineup that both is going to be a threat offensively, and what's going to be our best defensive lineup that we can piece together. And
it's going to be a lot of chicken wire and duct tape holding this thing together. But I think this is going to be one of those years where you're going to see 120, 130 different lineups. And that's hard. That's really hard in that division.
It's so hard for me to latch on to bring myself to latch on to this team because it's going to look so different next year. Just the short-term deals we have on the books right now, it's like, are we really going to latch on to Adam Duvall? Maybe if he does something great, like if he has a good run for us, maybe. But for what? He's not going to be here long term. Justin Turner, so knocking on the door of retirement. Didn't even know if he'd be coming over to Boston to begin with. Now he's
that one's a head scratcher for me. That one specifically.
So I don't know. I like the move in and of itself, like bringing over Adam Duvall, add him to your lineup. But for a 1 year, $7 million deal, I just like you were saying, I hate looking at lineups that are just pieced together just as a bridge year or to hold it down until prospects get up, because as I've said before, you're the Boston Red Sox. You shouldn't have to have these kinds of years. If you want to wait till your prospects come up, that's fine. But pay the guys that you have who are here, who have played here, who have succeeded here, and then adjust when the time comes. Don't let them walk to then go, well, it didn't work out, so we're gonna bring on board a couple 1-year guys and just roll the dice and see if we can catch magic.
What was the Turner deal? What was that for?
It was 2 for 22.
Looking it up.
So you take the Duvall 7, Justin Turner 11. You're telling me you can't go get somebody that better fits your needs for 18 a year?
Was it 2, Ryan?
Yeah, it's 2 years with an opt out after the first year, and I think
right, which he's not going to be back. I'm
2 years,
sorry.
2 years, 22 million. But again, and this is
you're basically looking at a 1-year deal,
right? But I will say with these prove it deals for certain guys, they are still trying to play to continue their career and to keep their career going, and that does create value. And I know you can talk about duct taping lineups, and that makes you feel a certain way, but proven veterans that are on the cusp of, are they going to continue at the rate or hopefully stay at the rate that they're playing or decline? Right now, they have just as much incentive as long as they want to continue to play baseball. And some of these guys and most players want to play as long as they can. So, and Justin Turner, at least, he's going to bring a veteran presence, and he's going to bring what he's done before. And again, I bring it up to the point, like, Fenway is a great place to hit.
And you know who is good at hitting at Fenway, who also brings a veteran presence? JD Martinez, who signed for a cheaper rate to go to the Dodgers, and made the rest of his offense better because he's a hitting addict. He loves talking hitting. He makes everyone around him better. He said he wanted to retire as a member of the Boston Red Sox, but sure, let's bring in the guy who also is trying to stretch out his career.
The disconnect between the front office and the clubhouse just grows. It has to be growing at this point. It is crazy. But how much of this, just playing devil's advocate, how much of this, you look at some past names attached to championship years, where you look at Johnny Gomes, you look at Steve Pearce, you look at, Kevin Millar, you look at guys that have had this couple laps around the league, done their thing, had moments of success. Do you feel like there's any type of that magic for a scrape it together kind of overlooked ball club?
No, I mean, for sure. And I would hope that happens, but a lot of things have to go right for the Red Sox this year. And it goes back to what I was saying about it's hard to pull myself together to the point to where I'm willing to be excited about this team. If that ends up happening, if they catch lightning in a bottle, then that's great, and I'll be along for every step of the way. But going into it, like I said, a lot of things have to go right. So going into it, it's hard to get excited about it because you know that the makeup of this team is going to look completely different come 2024.
Anybody remember what Eovaldi signed for?
Just talking about all the players that aren't Red Sox anymore. It's great. It's
good.
This 2 years, 17.
It was really enjoyable.
2 years, 17. So it's just, it's back to that.
They offered him a 3-year deal, and they withdrew it.
Look, it's a new day and age for the Red Sox, and it's a new day and age in general for the AL East because they're not going to be beating up on each other as much. I'm the optimist of the group here. Obviously, could see, but I do believe that things can work out better. I understand all the worries, and they're validated. There's a lot of question marks, but Fenway Park, the city of Boston, the history of the team has had a good reputation. Should be fun to watch. A lot of fun baseball to watch, guys. We are so close, if you think about it.
So close.
It's creeping up there. It's creeping.
Less than a month away till pitchers and catchers report. And how long we got till World Baseball Classic? What is that?
Just
like
under 2.
Under 2 months. Yeah.
Under 2 months. Under. I don't know where the month of January went. I know that much.
I thought New Year's was yesterday. That's what it feels like.
Literally was.
Everyone keeping up with the resolutions?
I didn't make any resolutions.
Nice. So yes, you are. Good.
Yes.
Paige and I did like a 30-day thing. So we have a wedding to go to on the 4th. And we were just like, instead of resolutions, just to have like a solid month of being good. It's been all right. It's been pretty good.
So nice.
Yeah,
Solid. We have a solid month. How's it going? All right.
I mean, that's how long most resolutions last. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
I know.
it's fine.
That's what I said. So, like, yeah, we just mix in some stuff. I've gotten better. I feel good. 2023 Nate is on the prowl. So he's doing good.
I'm happy to hear that.
Thanks. How about you?
Staying alive. I'm writing down a lot of my stuff. That's my thing.
Did Ollie have any?
Yeah, what the heck, dude? Where's
Can we ask
Ollie?
him?
Can you go get Ollie?
Okay, Ollie, and then that'll be our cue. Hold on a second. We'll see.
The noisiest chair in all of podcasts.
We know you gotta dip out here soon. So
Let me go see if
can
I
you
can
grab
find...
Ollie and we can wrap it up.
Just go. The only reason we brought you on today was to get
yeah.
Ollie. So go do what you need to do. It does look like a comfy chair, to be fair.
Yeah, but at what cost?
Is that all baseball stuff? Are we all done? That's all we got. There he is.
Yeah, I think that's about it. We had the robo umps for AAA, but we already know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Here he comes.
Let's go.
Yes. He's huge.
He's a bear. He's not even. I mean, we missed his puppy stage. Oh, he's like that awkward teen stage.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't want it to go on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Ollie making his debut. He is wet. He was outside.
Sure.
And he's caught in the court. So eventually, my mic's gonna go out here soon. But he made his appearance.
Can he give his quick take on the Adam Duvall signing real quick?
Okay, hey Paul, if you like the signing, Paul.
He
Right
doesn't
on.
like it.
Right on, Ollie.
Yeah.
Paul.
He looks depressed.
You know,
He looks about the way all Red Sox fans do right now. So
Well, he was in football season mode, and when the Ravens lost, he just barely wants to move. Oh, okay, buddy. Okay,
We're
There you
done
go.
here.
say hi.
what a gem.
He
Ollie will get an introduction next
Good.
next
he just
episode
woke
for
up.
sure.
He was napping, so tired from the run.
He looks super bitter right now. I understand. Ollie, go take your nap.
Okay.
Go back to dreamland.
There it
Hey,
goes.
we lost Ryan.
Yeah.
Right on.
Attaboy,
Oh.
Ollie. Just wreaking havoc over here. I love it.
Ryan's
Out.
out. Let's get out of here. Let's wrap this thing up. That's all we got.
Oh, yep. Another day in the books. Great job on everybody's ability to just stay into this offseason. I feel like our listeners are staying into this. We're right around
Ollie
the
staying
corner.
into this.
We're bought in. Keep it rolling. We're almost there. And it's almost our time again. So don't go chasing curveballs, you goons.
I'll fill in for Ryan here. It's a great day to have a day. Hope everybody has a fantastic week. Ollie is pulling for you. If nobody else has your back, Ollie's got your back. We love y'all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.